All right, looking over some of those features, you have a locking diopter, which is really nice to see. Usually you only find that in scopes that are about twice the cost. But a locking diopter is really nice for me because I was able to set the diopter to my eye and then lock it in so that when I give it to somebody else, they won't bump it or move it. And then suddenly I have to make that change, or I don't notice it until it's too late. I'm in the middle of a hunting scenario or defensive use, and my reticle isn't sharp. That's an issue with fast focus eyepieces that don't have a locking diopter. Moving over to the magnification ring. The magnification ring has, get it up here a little for you, has 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is a 1 to 8 power. It's extremely smooth, and you don't necessarily need to have this cattail or magnification assist lever on there, but it is useful for going quickly from one side to another instead of relying on your tactile ability to just grab this and move it around. You can just grab this lever and quickly move from 1 to 8 power, because that's a decent ratio. And for me personally, I like to have a lever on LPVOs in general. Illumination wise, it's very tactile, very bright. This is an excellent brightness. I will call it daytime bright. On a day like today when it's this bright out, very direct sun, 85 degrees out. Anyways, it's very, very bright with off in between, and I do believe you'll be able to use one on your night vision settings as well. You have your battery housing here, which is nice and independent from the dial. It's easy to get a hold of. It's not difficult to separate this off from here, but it doesn't loosen when you're actuating this. It's not stiff, it's very smooth and tactile. It's exactly how you would want it done on an LPVO. When it comes to elevation and windage, elevation and windage feel the same. They are MOA, and they are 0.25 inches at 100 yards. Really tactile, clicky, clean, and low profile, so they're not going to get in the way. If you can just kind of see how low profile those are overall, it's a nice looking elevation turret, and there's lots of internal elevation. You're not limited by this, but it is capped, and I think that's appropriate for this 1 to 8 in particular. So this isn't my first time with an RAR reticle. I've done a lot with their 1 to 6 Vengeance optic, and that was a phenomenal optic as well. Overall, built really good. Same reticle design, and with that reticle, some of the wins are, it has a large center dot. The actual stadia line thicknesses in MOA are bold enough that it's really quick. And if you throw in level 6 illumination on there, I think it's daylight bright illumination. I just checked it. It seems very bright even on a white target on a bright hot day. And so it's quick. It's really fast to acquire your target because you have great field of view with a 1 to 8. You know, it's a little bit wider field of view than 1 to 10 even. And then on top of that, you have a contrasty reticle, so it's quick to get that reticle on your target, whether that was a tactical application or you were, needing to do it for hunting, which is more along the lines of what this rig would be for me. I could go really quick to the trigger because it's a nice field of view at 8 power, it's a contrasty reticle, and it's not something I'm fighting to try to find. I'm not going to hunt in the glass to see where are those values, what does that mean? It's just really plain and simple. Simple reticles are good when there's not too much information. You can probably process it quicker at closer distances, find it faster, pull the trigger faster, which in a hunting scenario might be the difference between bagging something or missing it altogether, especially in woodsy areas like mine. Now I'm going to zero the optic. Again, thank you to Anechoic for sending out that can, and DSI for sending out their DS25. This is a 6.5 Creedmoor that I absolutely love. It is such a performer. I'm going to practice with some deer hunting loads right now and get a feel for the optic a little bit more on 8 power as I zero at max power. All right, last 2 shots of the day. They better be impacts. Have to get rid of this ammo anyways. Let's see what we can do. Go for the 6-inch. And yeah, let's go for the, well, actually that's an 8. Man, that's a nice optic. It's a really nice image. I like that a lot. Excellent field of view. As far as second focal planes go, this reticle is probably one of my preferred. It's very simple, but it's actually got the stadia with the information I need if I want to take it out further, and it's so good for holdovers. It's very quick. Because it's an LPVO, just the nature of being a 128, I think it's pretty important for me to talk about the extremes. Let's look at 1 power first. 1 power, now I've already said the reticle makes a lot of sense. It's got nice thick contrast to it. It's easy to pick up. I can shoot it precisely, but I can also shoot it fast, quick, close. Which with a 1-8, that's probably going to be a huge thing for people. If they want the 1 power, they want it to be functional. They don't want it to be microscopic. And that's probably one of the reasons that you're looking at this, is it's a second focal plane and reticles matter to you, especially with an LPVO. That should be an issue. If you can't see it on 1 power, what's the purpose of the 1 power side of field of view and a lighter, brighter image? Now with this, take my glasses off. Looking at the very edges, no weird fishbowl, no, actually there's not really much for distortion except for the very, 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 very edge of the glass, which is to be expected. That's kind of how glass works. It's a pretty nice image. The center of the image is what's optimized. It seems the clearest and the best to me. It's not sensitive or picky. It's actually quite comfortable. This is a very good 1x. Something I have to say about this optic and the 1-10 ED trace line. The 1 power is very comfortable to get behind compared to some other 1-10s, 1-8s that I've been messing around with. This one's not too picky. I feel like I can be pretty liberal in the eye box moving around. Okay, let's go up to mid power. 4 power, something like this. 4 power, I'm getting a lot of detail. Color looks pretty true. Still nice and sharp. You know, with the parallax being fixed at about the distance I'm looking at, I would expect it to look nice and crisp. I'm looking at 115 yards. Yeah, looks pretty good. Still, edges look great. Colors look good. So fidelity is still there. Eye box is still good. Not as good as it was on 1X. Field of view is reasonable. Let's push it up to 8 power, and I'll briefly talk about that. On 8 power, although you're constricting your field of view a little bit, typically I'm only going to be shooting on 8 power if I'm, you know, rooftop, barricade, tripod. I'm actually shooting a target on a bench with prone or something like that. I'm not going to walk around and run around like this. At the very least, I'd be leaning on a tree, although I do zero on full power. And if I'm going to take a shot at 100, 200 yards, I might want to push it up and find something to brace myself on. Or I would just back it off a little bit. But as far as the reticle stadia, those are going to be true at 8 power. Clarity is still good. Center of the glass, like I said, is optimized. That's not to say that the edge of the glass are bad or that the image is just degrading the further you get out so much. I'm just really looking for it. And yeah, if you're going to compare this against, like, let's say their ED line, this glass is not quite where the ED line is, but you know, I'm in the shadow, I'm looking into a dark spot, and it's still giving me detail and contrast and the things I need, and it's doing it at a cheaper price point. For some people, this is probably what they need more so than like a 1-10. This has other features and different benefits to it, especially the fact that this is a second focal plane versus a first focal plane. I like the 8 power. And I like the way the reticle functions on 8 power. Field of view wise though, I'm impressed at that 1 power. It's a nice one. It's a nice 1X. That's really good. They've done a lot of work, and the ability to lock my diopter, I can't say enough. I just so much appreciate that. All right, we are at 330 yards. I'm gonna be using my Zerotech spotter. Has the OSR reticle in it. optimized spotting reticle from Zerotech. It's a really, really nice spotter. I just think it's amazing. I've used it at 2 miles. 330 yards should be no problem for that spotter. Make sure I'm comfortable. I'm just shooting some deer hunting ammo, guys. This is not anything special, but I believe it'll be sufficient for what I want to do. I am shooting suppressed still, and with the Zerotech 1 to 8, I've got plenty of detail. I can pick out individual impacts on a 2/3 size IDPA. Up there, I can see the shards of clay pigeons that I've shot throughout the day. I can favor top and bottom paddle on the spinner up there. I might try to engage that. Let's see how this deer hunting ammo does first before I get too cocky. But 8 power is certainly enough to get it done. I mean, sometimes I shoot 8 power at 1,000. It does fine. Okay, let's go for the silhouette first. All right, I've got a clay pigeon. Can you see that, Clay? Off to the right above 15. Let's see where this one lands. Above 15. Okay. To be honest, I think I just bounced it. I think it hit right next to it. Let's go for the paddles on the swinger. This will probably destroy that swinger. Or that spinner, rather. I don't think it did. Hey, that's not too bad for deer hunting ammo. This reticle and scope combination is phenomenal. You can shoot this far, you can shoot it close. Being that it's a second focal plane, I am shooting on 8 power, and I'm going to recommend you do the same. I don't know why you would do anything different. Back to the silhouette. Let's do... Oh, should I go for a headshot? I don't know that I can make it. Let's find out. Just right. On the 4-inch target anyways, just right. So that head is about 4 inches. It's actually really easy to see where I'm missing and where I'm hitting. With only 8 power, I can stay in the glass because this AR-10 doesn't recoil very bad. So thank you to Darkstorm Industries for making a great rifle. Zerotech, this 1 to 8 is phenomenal. And if you're an MOA shooter, this reticle is going to work for you on any gas gun. All right, here's where I'm at. It's about 625 yards up to the steel. Behind those big target boards, a little bit further, there's a berm. That's where our steel is at today. With the 1 to 8, and I do have still my spotter. I love this spotter. Zerotech makes awesome stuff, and the spotter, the Trace Advanced, is clearly superior. OSR reticle, I'm gonna be recording with that. A little bit of mirage coming off, and I do have some fog rolling in relatively quick, so I need to be fast with this. I'll save my commentary for afterwards. I'm gonna use holdovers. I'm not gonna be dialing with this. I'm just gonna hold over as much as possible. And with this 20-inch 6.5 Creedmoor, I shouldn't have to hold over an enormous amount. It's gonna be within the reticle, I'm pretty confident, but I'll keep you updated on that. Let's throw one at that spinner real quick, that big paddle I'll go for. Start with that. A little bit to the right, maybe a little high. That was pretty close. Oh, that's really close. Man, that is surprisingly close for a gun that is not dialed. All right, up to the silhouette. I do have to hold a fair amount of wind, but that's okay. just right. Ooh, I've got some Mirage cooking. Gotta let that can cool down for a second. While I'm waiting for the can and the barrel to cool down, I'll tell you, I just shot that last string actually with the legs forked out, not like how they are now, perpendicular. I had them forked out a little bit at, I don't know, pretty good angle. Let's go back here. I had them forked out like this, lifted a little bit, and this is a serious bipod. It is the Atlas Super Cal. It's a pretty big, wide stance bipod, and it does good like this, but every couple years I'll just try it on a gun. I'll fork out the legs a little bit and see if I can get used to it, and I just do not care for that. I didn't shoot very well. It wasn't super comfortable. Something about the harmonic node or the vibration, I didn't like that very much. I know that works well for a lot of people. A lot of people shoot really good like that. I guess I don't. So I'm gonna stick to this consistent way that I usually shoot competitions and everything else, just like that. And let's throw a few more down there now that the barrel is probably cooled off. This is one of those days where nobody's at the range. It's weird. Nobody's here. And I only brought 2 or 3 guns. 3 guns, I think. I wish I brought every gun I have. It's such a good day to shoot. Aside from the wind, it's just calm, it's quiet. At the range, there's not a bunch of people buzzing around. And the wind is somewhat predictable in the last hour or so, so shouldn't do too bad. Again, 625 yards. Let's see what happens with some of this deer hunting ammo from Winchester. Okay. Still got to hold for that wind, unfortunately. Go up a little bit to 16 MOA. Getting a lot of gas in the face at the moment. Okay, I think I got the ballpark for it, at least. I definitely can see my hits and my misses. I can tell which side it's going. I think my standard deviations and the general consistency or precision of this round is not going to be supreme at this distance. But if I can get it to lock on steel most of the time, I'd be happy to buy it because it's a cheap round. I can throw it down in my AR-10 and plink with it, have some fun, and then actually practically hunt with this same setup at close ranges. I definitely would with this, especially during daylight hours. When I don't need the best light collection that there is, I can do really well with this. I can see in the shadows down there almost as good as any other optic that I've used. All right, everybody, this is basically just a first look video. I do have a lot more content coming on this in about a month. I'm gonna take it out to mid-range and in some extended ranges. I wanted to do some practical shooting with it initially at 50, 100, 200, and then 300 yards. And as you can see, I'm definitely making impacts. Even off shooting sticks, I'm doing relatively well with just hunting grade ammo. Part of that is a fantastic rifle and can. Thank you again to DSI for sending this out to the channel and Echoic for the can. But you have to be able to see what you're shooting at in order to hit it effectively repeatedly. And so with this optic, I was able to see well. The reticle contrasts so nicely. The illumination is fantastic. Probably one of the best 1:8 illuminations I've run, actually, now that I think of it. And it's simple. It's a really simple optic. There's not much to go wrong here, guys. It is a second focal plane, so if you're a big second focal plane fan, you're gonna get those advantages here. Reticle is gonna stay the same size whether you're on 1 power or you're on 8 power. Super smooth, everything runs properly, your diopter locks, and you can still get at those turrets if you wanna run it out a little bit further, like what I'm gonna do in the future. If you like this video and maybe a 1:8 is a little bit more than what you're looking for, or maybe you need more, I'm gonna link a couple videos here from Zerotech. The 1:6 Vengeance is also recommended. I love it, huge field of view for that optic, and it's very similar to what you're looking at here. Then they also have a first focal plane ED version, which is a 1:10, and that is in their ED line, the trace line. I've also done a review on that and can highly recommend both those optics. I'll post those here. Click on one of those, watch one of those, and head over to the Zerotech website if you're interested.